Welcome to All About Vets. And I always give a tease. I have not had this organization on All About Vets, so it's a real treat. You're going to get a lot of good information on the other side of this commercial. Welcome back to All About Vets. As you very well know, to my right here is my co-host, and I let him speak for himself. Everybody knows Chief Leroy Davis. And I have two special guests with me here, Miss Susan Wood from the House of Heroes, and a long-standing friend of mine. I always say, everybody loves Teddy, and it's true. Teddy Jackson, if you went uptown, he's a retired police officer, but he had that beat in Uptown because we wanted to have someone who could protect you and also someone that got along with everyone. And he's that type of person. So I'm going to pass the ball to Susan to look into that camera right there and let everybody know something about her and about House of Heroes, brick and mortar, email, address, and if they want to contact you, all the information right there, Susan.
Well, thank you so much for having me on the show. First of all, it is a pleasure to be here. I'm Susan Wood, the Executive Director of House of Heroes Chattahoochee Valley Chapter. And our address, in case you want to come see us, is 1225 Webster Avenue, Columbus, Georgia. We are right off 13th Street behind Direct Optical. If you've lived in Columbus, you can find our address. And also our website is houseofheroescvc.org. You may visit the website, see what's going on, see what we have coming up, and see how you can help.
And I have my good friend, everybody, lottie, everybody knows Teddy. Teddy, if you look into that camera and tell them a little bit about you.
Teddy Jackson, retired police officer from Columbus, Georgia Police Department. I'm so happy to be working now with the House of Heroes. I'm one of the board members. I miss my citizens of Columbus, Georgia. I got hurt back in 2020, and I was down for a minute with my back. And a special friend of mine that I went to school with, Kevin Red, had done a referral to my dear friend, Susan Woods. And they came and helped me at my house, and I was really, really appreciative of that. And as time went, me and Susan became really good friends, and she asked me to come join the House of Heroes, which was one of the best things. And I'm a board member with them and very excited.
Well, that's a good thing. Like I said, everybody loves Teddy. I don't know anyone who doesn't like Teddy. And I'm telling you, for the time he's been in public safety, that's a record, because he knew how to treat people like a lot of public safety do. But if you look at Teddy, just to hear Teddy laugh, and if Teddy comes up, he always has a smile on his face. And so I'm super excited because House of Heroes has done so much in this community for public safety and for veterans. And you can't beat an organization like that. And I'm going to have Susan just look in the camera, just give a brief history, because I do know Wayne Anthony, and she can talk a little bit about him. He's a godsend. It's good to see him back in the community again. And so, Susan, I'll put that you look in there. And then right after you give a history, we're going to start into your presentation. And the only thing you got to do is say, next slide, and those marvelous slides that you got will show up.
We do have some good slides. Well, I'm so excited to tell the history of House of Heroes because it means so much to me. 23 years ago, it started with a vision that Wayne Anthony had. And since that time, we have multiple chapters around the United States. And Chattahoochee Valley chapter is one of the founding chapters. We have assisted over 1,400 veterans in our community right here in Columbus, over in Phoenix City, Opelika, Harris County. We span a 45-mile radius is where we're able to help our veterans. because it's based on volunteer labor. And the money that comes in goes to purchase the supplies for our volunteers.
And I just think that's awesome. And I omitted, I mentioned my partner here who comes up here, Chief Davis. Do you have something you want to say?
Well, you know, I'm glad to be here. Papa and I work together, co-host, taking care of veterans and civilians as well. And I'm so happy to be here with the House of Heroes. I've seen your work, and I'm glad that you let the people of Alabama know that, hey, you covered us as well. And I'm sure that you're getting some volunteers from over there. So we want to keep all of that in mind and be able to help you in any way we can.
I'm going to remember that.
Let me tell you something. Susan's quick now.
I am.
Well, Susan's quick. But Susan, anytime that you're ready, you can go into those marvelous slides of yours.
Okay, let's go ahead and start. Of course, that's our logo. So you see that on a sign, you'll see it on billboards, and if you see that sign in a yard, that means that House of Heroes has been to that home, and we are helping someone there or have helped, because some of our veterans will leave the sign up for a long time. I love it because it has our email address and it has our phone number on there that you can call. And you know, I'm going to go ahead and give you the phone number now. 706-569
There we go.
7011.
There
Because you
we
do
go.
need to call us. Next slide. So the mission of House of Heroes Chattahoochee Valley Chapter is to recognize and honor military and public safety veterans, as well as their spouses who have served our country faithfully and sacrificiously.
And the reason I like that, Susan, is because of this one statement here, to recognize and honor military and public safety veterans and their spouses. Because you see, as far as public safety goes, when a public safety official leaves, they're not guaranteed to come back. Just like veterans, when they're sent off, we're not guaranteed to come back. But as far as veterans are concerned, and as far as public safety, it is a mission that we place ourselves in those situations for the community. And I'm so glad that an organization like House of Heroes has that. And when it says honor military and public safety veterans and their spouses, because no military person did duty in the military without the support of the spouse, right, Leroy?
That's correct.
And no public safety individual serves the community without the support of the spouses. So I'm so glad you have that.
That's right.
And I want to put that in there for Sarah too.
All right.
Put that in there for Sarah too. Give Sarah her props.
That's right. That's right.
All right, next slide. So a little bit about us. It was founded in 1999 by Wayne Anthony, and the first veteran was honored with home repairs in May of 2000.
Wow.
100% of our funding stays local and is reinvested in the work we do. Now, to qualify for assistance, you must be a military or public safety veteran or a spouse. You must own and occupy the home to be repaired. It cannot be rental, and it cannot belong to any other family member. And you must have been honorably discharged. So that's why we require the DD 214.
I want to touch on that third sentence. 100% of our funding, it stays local and is reinvested in the work here being done in Columbus. And so.
And the surrounding area.
And the surrounding areas. Thank you, Chief. Yep. In the surrounding areas. And that's important because if you donate something, you want to make sure that the community that you live in is invested in that. And the really good point is, I always say the organizations that are out there every day invested in us, helping us when we need help, we need to support. And so I'm going to have Susan later on a couple of times to give all the contact information, because we do not want House of Heroes to go away. We want House of Heroes to continue to do the good, godly work it does for our citizens.
All right, next slide. In the past 23 years, we have served over 1,400 veterans. We have honored them. We like to use that word honor. We honor and recognize the service that they have given to us is so important, and it's our way of saying thank you.
Right.
Over 26,000 volunteers have given more than 205 hours of service.
And thank God for volunteers, because our country is based on volunteerism, and it just gets me all excited and adrenaline flowing when I see that many volunteers just have the spirit of giving in their hearts to do something like this here. 26,000 volunteers and 205,000 hours of service. You can't beat that.
No,
Susan.
it's big. It is
It's
really
yeah.
big.
And you have and I look at you have your hands full managing all this here.
It's such a good thing too, that how you're tracking and you keep what you're doing so you can show the public.
Exactly. And you know, we were talking about giving, how it stays local. I welcome anyone that donates to House of Heroes, or if you're thinking about making a donation, come see us. Like I said, 1225 Webster Avenue. You can come visit me, give me a call. I will happily take you out so you can meet one of the veterans that we have helped, or you can meet one that we're going to help. I want you to see where your money's going.
And that's awesome. And now y'all keep that invitation in mind, because I'm going to tell you what really gets me. I have gone to some places. I have my very, very, very good friend that I'm excited to see here, Teddy here, to be able to go elaborate on his story. And it's important, really, because there are a lot of needs. Everyone knows that women live longer than men, statistically. And so there are a lot of widows here that need help, and in my age category, in the 80s and older. And so it's just a godsend to have an organization like this here to do work. And so it's a blessing.
And you know, the other good thing about this, when the House of Heroes can go out and help people, is that we have a lot of older veterans and spouses who only come out of the house once a month. That's just to go to the grocery store and the pharmacy.
That's it.
And so they are very sensitive about who they let come in because of the world we live in today. So having someone like the House of Heroes to do that is very satisfying and safe to them. So I just want to commend you all on that.
Right. And I'm going to tell you something, just to add a little more. When you think, all the time my wife and I are thinking about how God has really blessed us. Being retired military, where if we have any kind of illness, we can see the doctors. Medications, we don't have to worry about a lot of the medications. And another thing, we just had repairs on my home, but we were in a position where my wife said, sweetheart, this needs to happen, where we can make a call. But a lot of seniors, they don't have that flexibility. They don't have that facility to be able to do that. They end up living in a situation. I'm going to have Susan later on talk about someone when we filmed the Facebook Live show about what a woman went through. It's just astounding how the House of Heroes can go and just help individuals. And so, Susan, I'm going to let you keep on with your slides.
Okay, next slide. Let's see what we have. Now here's a before and after. I've got some really good before and afters. So this volunteer group, I have to give a shout out, was Piedmont Hospital.
Hey Piedmont, hey Piedmont, hey Piedmont.
Yes, we need them to come back. You know, COVID just messed up so much, so many things, but we didn't quit. House of Heroes did not quit during that time. But this is a widow of a veteran. She was probably close to 90. And as you can see, and this was one of those homes you drive by, and it looked nice on the outside.
Right.
You know, you don't know how people are really living. So this particular house, as you can see, the floor was, you know, going through, almost had a hole there. The cabinets were falling off. So Piedmont went in, and look at that after photo.
Look at that.
Really
that
nice.
is awesome.
Yes.
And Piedmont. Hoop, hoop, Piedmont.
They were so, that day they actually did 2 houses, but this was the really good before and after.
Oh my goodness.
And with them, we did not use any of our funding to purchase these supplies. So a lot of teams like this will come with the availability to get flooring donated, or maybe use some cabinets that could have come from their storage in the hospital, any number of places.
Right.
But look at the difference.
Isn't that something?
And they even replaced the window.
I was just going to ask you that, because I was looking at the windows.
That's a pretty window.
Yes.
But they were so kind. And it's just like Pop was saying, you know, these people do not go out very often. You know, she allowed us to come in. And this group just fell in love with her. I mean, we fall in love with all of our veterans and their spouses because they're so sweet. But Piedmont went the extra step. They did flooring on into the living room, and they even gave her a new couch.
What? Oh, shout out to P.
Yeah.
You want to know something, Susan? The reason that I came back after I got discharged from the military, I was in the Pacific Northwest, loved it out there, Tacoma, Washington, Fort Lewis, Washington. But Southern folks are folks. Southern people are folks. And something like this for Piedmont Hospital to do something like that. Can you imagine now, the outside of the house looked good. Can you imagine living in that before what she had to go through? And she could have never, ever gotten that fixed on her own.
No. And another thing that you will hear about with the work we do, our goal is to complete a project in a day. And yes, that was done in one day.
Wait a minute now.
That's some good workers there.
Now, wait a minute.
There we
That
go.
was done
Yeah.
in what?
One day.
Oh, my goodness. Can you believe that? One day?
Yes.
Look at this transformation.
Yes,
They had at least probably 15 to 20 volunteers. So some were doing a little yard work, painting some outside, painting inside. But they probably started at 7 or 8 o'clock, but they finished that work.
Now, let me ask a question. Because someone like me, now I'm a nurse now, I can do all kind of nursing stuff. But when it comes to put something out, do you have to have any skill, or can you just lift things and bring things in, or have somebody show you hold the nail like this here, or you hit it like that, and you have somebody show you how to do all that kind of stuff? For an average volunteer, you don't have to have any skill, just have the willingness in your heart to volunteer to help.
I'm so glad you asked that because yes, we do need some skill. Obviously there was some skill involved here.
I'm sure.
But there's so much that the average person, and I like to put myself in that average person
Bingo.
category. I can paint.
There we
you
go.
know, I can clean.
There we go.
I can talk to the veteran to make her feel more comfortable
There we
about
go.
having a group of 20
There
people
we go.
coming
Right.
into the house.
So-
There's something for everybody.
So if you just have average skills, because I can do this here now. I can do that. I can paint. So this is really exciting to let our viewers know that if you have some time, and I always say this here, this is very important, but a lot of people don't know, and I say it on my other show. This is a very giving community. And so the only way that organizations can continue doing good things for the community, for us, is unfortunately, you have to be able to donate. And I tell you another way you can donate besides money is volunteering, donate of your time. So if you feel of a mind to be able to give to this organization, to keep it going, functioning in the community, doing all the good that it does, then make a donation. Susan's going to tell you all the ways that you can do that. And then donate your time. 2 or 3 hours out of every day. I know I could give 2 hours doing something. And so please just let the Lord speak to your heart and see the marvelous work that the House of Heroes does in this community here.
And
so-
let me say this, Pop. You know, we have a great base here, Fort Moore.
Yes.
And our military men and women volunteer. So we just need to let them know
That's
that
it.
we need them, because that goes into their evaluation, their performance, that they
Right.
are working in the community.
Right.
And they have skills when it comes to building and
That's right.
everything like that. So we just need to make sure that they know that, hey, House of Heroes may need you this Saturday coming
Bingo.
up, or this Sunday after church, because we are trying to fix this house for this veteran or this retired police officer
Exactly.
or something. So, or should I say, police/fire department, our
That's right.
public service.
That's right, public safety, EMS, all of them.
So, but let's all you active duty guys out there and girls who need something extra to do,
Bingo.
and want something extra in your performance evaluation, come
Bingo.
on out and volunteer and work to help a fellow veteran who served before you did. Now
There you
they
go.
are retired, they are older, and they need your help.
So,
That's great.
Exactly.
And I got one thing to say, Pop, to the younger police, younger soldiers. You never know where you will be in a situation
Right.
like me. I never thought I would have got hurt. I had done 34 years with the police department, but I never thought I would have been in a position where I would need assistance and not be able to do the things that I once did. And so the House of Heroes made a big difference in my life.
Right.
And so you never know. So, you know, I went talked to some of my neighbors gave, and I've had people to ask, well, how much to give? Well, Susan always say, no amount is too small.
There we
no
go.
amount is too big.
Thank you, Teddy.
So when we start talking about giving, please do, but no amount is too small. So I say that from my heart and on behalf of the House of Heroes. We really need your donation. That's how we continue to help out in the community.
And
Yes,
Teddy,
sir.
I'm so glad that you shared that, because I do know how many years you put with the police department, and that's the, and I want to be honest with you, the Lord really touched Wayne Anthony's heart, and then Susan coming on board, because when it comes to public safety individuals, when it comes to the military, those individuals give up their life when they're out there. And you want to know something? I'm in my 80s. My wife would get mad if I say but she's near me, and you can't do all the things that you used to be able to do. And then if you're injured, like Teddy was injured in the line of duty, you know, there's only but so much you can do. So an organization like House of Heroes is a real godsend to this community. And you saw the slide that was, she could have never gotten that fixed. And can you imagine living like that with the floor looked like it's about to cave in? And so this is a true blessing that we need to keep House of Heroes functioning and doing the marvelous work that it does in the community. And so I'm excited to see some more slides, Susan.
I want to ask one more question, make another point. There's a misconception. I see it when I go places and talk. You know, people think that retired military make a lot of money.
No.
And they think you should be able to afford the repairs. But for the average person that we are helping, those are the ones that served. Yes, we still have some World War II, Korean veterans, and Vietnam. They are not bringing in but maybe $1,200 a month. I mean, that's not, and then they, you know, they're older now, they can't do the work.
Right. I mean, they physically can't do it.
Exactly. And they, like you say, they're living on a fixed income.
Yes.
So if you're living on a fixed income and well, if they're retired, they get their medicine free. But what about that water bill, that electric bill?
Bingo.
That's, in today's world, that's expensive.
Right.
So if you're living off of, like you say, $1,200 a month,
Right.
and then you got to buy groceries, and like I said earlier, these people don't leave their house maybe once or twice a month, and that's to go to the grocery store and the doctor and the pharmacy.
That's exactly
and,
right.
and then they go back in and lock the doors and stay in because of the world we live in. So many things are happening, and then you know our police force are short or personnel, and I mean it's just a problem.
Right.
So whatever we can do to help these people, God bless it, because it's just good work.
One of the largest blessings that we received, and you know, I feel blessed every day, but during COVID, in 2020, the year we don't want to remember any longer, we didn't have volunteer teams to do the work because they didn't go out. Money wasn't really coming in because people were scared. So I was brainstorming, thinking, what can we do to remain relevant? And then we decided, like you were saying, they don't go out. They were scared to go out too during COVID. So we had donations brought to us to take non-perishable items. And it was probably over 200 veterans that we served during a 2-month time.
200 veterans?
Yes, we packed boxes of non-perishable items. We called them to tell them we were on the way, and we dropped it off at their door, you know, to keep our distance.
That's awesome.
They cried. One lady cried because we found, you know, some milk that was just on a shelf. It didn't have to be refrigerated.
Yeah.
And she said, I didn't know what I was going to do. I was running out of food and you showed up. So
That's
there's so
awesome.
many ways that we can
Right.
help our community. We
Exactly.
just need people to get involved.
Right, and I'm glad you brought up that story. And Leroy, you brought up a good story because many seniors, they're in an island. They only come out, go to the doctors, they might go to the store maybe once in a month. The majority of their time, they live in a home. I think we got some more good
Yeah,
slides.
next slide.
Next slide.
Here we go.
Ooh.
This is the story
Oh
that
my.
I told Pop the other day, and we didn't have a picture. And as you can see, I didn't paint the pictures with
Oh,
like the
look,
picture
that
is.
tells 1,000, no, that tells 2,000 words. Look at that.
So this particular lady, she's a little old lady, she was so cute. She came into our office with her daughter who was disabled, and she was taking care of her daughter. She had a roof leak. Well, we don't always do roofs, but I'd written for grants, so we were able to give her a new roof. She did not want to ask us for any other help, but I thought to myself, with a roof as bad as it was, there has to be something in the house.
Oh, you were smart.
So look at it.
And something like that, oh my goodness.
I don't remember if I have a picture of a ceiling, but she basically was holding the hole in the ceiling up with garbage bag and duct tape to keep it from coming in her only bathroom that she
Look
had.
at that. Look at the shape of that.
And so you're thinking she couldn't take a bath. So
No.
for years they had to use their sink to sponge bath in the
Oh my
kitchen.
gosh,
So
look
look
at
at that after. Isn't that beautiful?
But you want to know something that's beautiful? Look at the transformation.
Right.
And
Now,
we
you want to know
repainted
something?
the
Someone
tub.
seeing that, I mean, it just, can you imagine how long it took and how she was suffering without having a bathtub?
Yeah.
If
But-
it wasn't for House of
Yeah.
Heroes.
But the story continued. Remember the story? She ended up, after we got all finished for her, they painted the tub, looks brand new, new window, surround. She didn't have hot water. But she didn't want to tell us she had not had water,
see.
had hot water in 7 years. So we got a donation of a hot water heater. It was looking great. Liberty Utilities, shout
at
out to
that.
them.
You can't beat
And
that.
then we found out it wasn't the water heater, it was the water line.
Oh, no.
Yes, so.
Everybody who owns a home, when they say water line, you start getting nervous and start shaking.
Oh, it was
Oh, yeah.
bad. It was bad. But Columbus Waterworks, we love them. They replaced some of the water line, and then we found a plumber that
Oh.
didn't want to charge $20,000
I know, for something like that.
to climb under the house and replace all the plumbing.
Can
and
you
then
imagine?
and then we had ENS Plumbing, shout out to them, who donated all the plumbing material.
Are you serious? Say it again, because you need
Yes.
to give those organizations
Yes.
flowers that do something like this here. Who is it? Ian?
ENS
Isn't that plumbing? Good.
Plumbing donated all of the plumbing supplies. I had to pay the plumber a little bit of money, but he was really good. We were able to raise enough money. And so by Christmas, she had hot water.
But that you couldn't have given her a better Christmas present than
Exactly.
that. Look at that.
Yeah, no more bird baths. That's
No.
what we call them in
Yeah.
the military,
Bird
bird
baths.
baths.
Right, bird
Yes.
bath. And you want to know something to our viewing audience? This is one organization, House of Heroes, that really touches someone's life. And I love this community. When you're talking about ENS Plumbing donating, you heard about what Piedmont did for the ladies' kitchen. This is such a marvelous community, and all of y'all are marvelous because all of y'all remember what the good Lord said on the mount, and that's what this is all about. The good Lord told us to reach out and to be merciful to people as He is merciful to us. And so this is so marvelous. Next slide.
Let's see what we have. Okay, here's some more. This is Fort Benning teams.
Hey, there you
I
go.
tell
There
you,
you go,
we
Lee.
got
Chief-
them. We got them.
Leroy, you were right. Chief Davis was right on when he said contact
Yeah.
out there at Fort Moore.
But look, yeah, I still say Fort Benning, Fort Moore, but they cleaned this veterans yard. As you can see, it was extremely overgrown in the back. I
Right.
don't even think you could see a shed back there. And the deck you see, that was actually in the backyard too, that could not be seen. So let's go to the next slide.
Look
Plant
at that.
Franklin Southern Company over in Phoenix City, Alabama Power. Look at there.
Yep.
So we had electrical issues, so fortunately we had the perfect company to come out and help. So they spent, once again, one day. They did painting, replaced some deck boards, and then repaired the electrical issues
Look
that
at
this
that.
person had.
Look
And
at
this was in Valley, Alabama. So
It's
see, that's still within a 45-mile radius.
See, that's what you
Yep.
said, Leroy.
Next slide. Oh, here we go. This is North Columbus Rotary. Let me shout out to them. Our Rotary clubs are really good with community service because their motto is service above self. And we were able, see the small group, see groups are all different sizes, able to build her a new ramp outside. It was coming right out through her carport, but that's really the only way she could get out. So she had just some boards sitting on there that
Isn't
was
that
rotting
something, huh?
away. But we were able to give her the mobility that she needed.
And you know, that adds so much to a person's life. You know, when you think about life and the good Lord gives you life and the little bit of sunshine that you can put in someone's life for a day. You know, in the churches we say, each day is a day that you've never seen and you will never see again. And when you can bring a ray of sunshine in someone's life, if it's just for that one day, you've done a marvelous thing for someone. So, Susan, this is
Isn't it good?
I'm getting more and more excited, y'all. You can tell from all these pictures what House of Heroes does.
Let's go next. Oh, that's what I was hoping for. I was hoping for this because I'm going to talk about funding in a minute. This is Eupatoy United Methodist Church. Now, this story, this was over in Phoenix City too. I think it was in Smith Station. And this veteran and his wife lived in a mobile home. You know, we drove up, and one thing that we realized is there are times we are not prepared for what we find.
Right.
So he had a front porch on the front, and he had a back porch with no ramp. His son literally had to come to his house and physically pick his father up to carry him down the steps, as you can see that are not in good shape,
Oh my
and put him in his
gosh.
car to take him to the store, take him to the doctor. So thank you to our church groups that continue to help.
Yes.
Now this project did take 2 days. We tore everything down, rebuilt that beautiful ramp.
Look at that.
So he is able to get out of the house all by himself, which brings us to funding, because a few years ago, we could have built that ramp for maybe $1,000, $8 to $1,000. Now we're looking at $2,000
Are
or
you-
more because of the cost
Right.
of lumber.
materials, right,
Yes,
material.
lumber. Because remember, we're not paying the people to help; they're volunteers. But we do have to purchase supplies.
That's exactly right.
And mobility is a very important need that we have to address, and we cannot do it unless people give.
Right, and as always, I keep saying, you know, and here's, Teddy brought up a really good point, and it's biblical, it's in the Bible. Everybody knows the story of the widow's mite. And so, as Teddy said, really, it's not the amount that you give, it's the fact that you give. The widow's mite is scriptural, so it's just happened, but your heart and your means are able to give. And I always say this here, it's not the amount of what you give, it's the love you have in your heart.
That's right.
And so things are way more expensive. And I can imagine to have a son like that, to have to carry his father, that's sad.
And this veteran didn't even want to call and ask for help, okay? People are proud, we understand, but his daughter is the one that called and explained the need. So when we have projects like that, a need that's really urgent, we try to get out there as quickly as possible.
And that's awesome. And that brought a whole bunch of sunshine into his, and not only
did.
that, in his son, to know that his father can have a little bit more freedom. Can you imagine being restricted, that you
That's
can't
right.
even go down steps?
Couldn't even go in his yard. And you know, you have to remember when the veteran walks outside, you know, because he had all these people he'd never met before.
Right.
And he comes outside, and he's on his ramp in his wheelchair, and tears are in their eyes, and they
Yes.
always say, I cannot believe that people that didn't even know me
Right.
came out and helped.
but you want to know something, that's what they call the milk of human kindness and hearts. And Susan, I want you to look in that camera right there and give the brick and mortar, email, phone number, how they can help out
Okay.
House of Heroes in that camera right there.
All right, you are more than welcome to come visit us or bring us a check or bring us a few dollars, whatever you have, or come see us just to learn more. The address is 1225 Webster Avenue, which is off 13th Street behind Direct Optical. You can also go to our website, houseofheroescvc.org. If you would like to donate, you just click that donate button. And like we were saying, no amount's too small.
There
You can
we
give
go.
$5, $1, whatever you can afford. And then you can also mail a check or however you want to. But you can call us at 706-569-7011.
And I'd like to add, they're a good group of folks. We walk in their door, there's folks there, and they make you feel like folks. You walk on in there, it's just comforting. They might not even know you. Come on in, have a cup of coffee, sit around. You want to know about us? So it's worth your while to stop by just to see a group of good people with Susan at the helm that's doing so much in the community.
And I'm glad you said we could call, because guess what? Somebody really answers the phone. You're not going to have to press 1 for this person,
No.
hold an operator. It's a traditional line. We don't have call waiting or anything. So if you can't get us, please leave a message. We can't call you back if you don't leave a message.
But we're going to have to wrap things up. How many more slides we have, Susan?
I think just a few.
Okay, let's go to the next slide.
Oh, how can you help? There you
Bingo.
go. Put together a team, become a sponsor, become a lunch sponsor, a media sponsor, t-shirt sponsor, donate a service or that your company offers, donate a skill, and share the mission of House of Heroes. If you're a restaurant, you want to donate lunch, the average team.
You took the words out of my mouth because you were talking about taking food.
Yes.
So there's so many ways that you can really volunteer to help and make your heart, it makes your heart feel really good when you know all that the House of Heroes does. And Chief Davis, you have anything final words that you want to say?
Well, I like to say that volunteering is good. And I want to go back to something you said earlier, back during the pandemic, when everything was bad and the nurses were locked down on the unit, on the floors.
Mm-hmm.
I took it, the Russell County Veteran Council, and called and found out how many nurses was on the floor. They was working 12-hour shifts.
Yes.
How many janitors had to stay there. So how many people were actually on the floor? And my organization, we went to, it wasn't Piedmont at the time, it was
Columbus Regional.
Columbus Regional, where we went to Subway, and we bought sandwiches for 2 shifts,
That's awesome.
and sweet tea and bottled water.
There we go.
And we did the same thing for St. Francis. And so you can always give.
You can always give that way.
The point I'm trying to make, it's always something that you can do.
That's right.
That no matter how small it is,
Right.
but it helps. Because at that point in time, 12-hour shifts and dealing with all of the people dying, I don't like using that word, but the virus was a killer.
No, it was a reality.
It was a killer. And I'm so thankful that in our area that we had people that wasn't quitting.
Right.
Those nurses, those doctors,
Right.
that whole team, the janitors, the
Right.
maintenance people, they was not quitting.
Right.
They stayed and
Right.
they worked and they worked. So that's what I wanted to share about.
And they were true heroes because they were working right there. Any of them could have caught COVID. So those individuals, the nurses and the ancillary individuals there, they were true heroes. Teddy, you have any final words? And we're going to close out with Susan.
Okay, I'm a living testimony of what the work that the House of Heroes do. And I'm just asking a lot of people here in the community know my personality, know I did whatever I could to help. But now I'm asking you, whatever you can donate to the House of Heroes is really, really appreciated. And thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Teddy and Susan. Any last words to say to everyone?
I do. I wish
Text to give.
There you go. So you can text to
That's
give.
it.
Look at there. You can text to give. Just text heroes to 269-89.
There we go. And so I'm just so happy to have an organization like this on that we can present Leroy and I on all about vets. An organization that's tried and true. The first one, 1999. So they're not Johnny-come-latelys. The House of Heroes has been on the spot, really helping individuals. But in order to continue to help all of you in the community, we need to help House of Heroes.
And Pop, I think we need to challenge all our veterans organizations
There we go.
to donate. It can be a minimum of $25 or whatever, but
Right.
just donate because we see the work that's being done in the
Exactly
community
right.
by the House of Heroes.
Exactly right.
So I'm challenging all veterans organizations, if you're watching this, to donate something to the House of Heroes.
There we go.
If it ain't nothing but a case of chicken, they'll take it.
There
We'll
we
take
go.
it.
There you go.
Because
There we go.
they're not just fixing homes, but they're fixing bodies because these people need food as well.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And as I always say on each program, and by the way, so you'll know, we're going to have House of Heroes come back again. And they're going to show some more of the pictures, just to put it in your mind, all the good it does. And as I always close out every program this way, because it's, what I'm getting ready to say is important. Everybody is somebody's loved one. And that's all of you who are watching here. And so please be good and kind to yourself because God loves you. Bye-bye now.